Do you absolutely love the idea of living paycheck to paycheck? Are you excited about sharing a tiny apartment with 4 roommates well into your 30s? Do you dream of explaining to your parents why you still need to borrow money at age 37? Well, great news. I've got a collection of college degrees that will guarantee that you stay nice and poor for decades to come. And these amazing educational opportunities will ensure that you're always juggling bills, eating ramen, and wondering how your high school dropout friend can afford a house while you're drowning in student loan debt. And for the low price of just $100,000 in student debt, you too can have a fancy diploma that looks amazing hanging on the wall of your parents' basement, where you'll be living. All right, all joking aside, today we're gonna be talking about something serious. College degrees that statistically lead to financial struggle. And I'm not here to crush anyone's dreams, but what's more crushing than spending 4 years and a small fortune on a degree that leaves you financially crippled? So let's dive into degrees that you might want to reconsider before signing those loan papers. So let's get into it right after you gently tap that like button. Here are the 10 degrees most likely to keep you poor, starting with one of the absolute worst, and that is pop culture studies. Now, from our research, there are literally 17 jobs available nationwide for this degree. No, not 17,000, not even 1,700, just 17. So you have a better chance of becoming an astronaut than finding a job in pop culture studies. And all of these jobs are in cities where a cup of coffee costs more than your hourly rate. Think about it. You're probably gonna spend $100,000 to learn about Sesame Street and the Kardashians. And sure, that might sound like a lot of fun, but employers don't care. They want skills that make them money, and they can't see how this degree helps their business at all. So for this one, I am going to give a uselessness score of 10 out of 10. Only 17 jobs nationwide, completely impractical, and everything it teaches could be learned for free. Number 2 is gender studies, and this degree became such a meme that it's almost painful to talk about. With only about 1,000 jobs nationwide that list this degree at all, and dropping, you could fit every available position in a medium-sized high school gym. And most of these positions are in cities where your starting salary qualifies you for food stamps. And according to comments from actual graduates, gender studies majors typically end up in generalist roles like HR, recruiting, counseling, and nonprofit work. Positions that don't require this specific degree, or in some cases, any degree at all. And as one commenter sarcastically noted, gender studies majors can get any job that you can get without a gender studies degree. So what jobs can you get? Nonprofit coordinator, diversity coordinator, or outreach specialist. And the funny part is you don't need this degree for any of those jobs. And companies won't pay you more just because you have it. So this suggests the degree may not provide the type of in-demand expertise that can command top salaries. So uselessness score, I'm gonna give it another perfect 10 out of 10. All right, next is an art history degree. And most of the positions available for this, which there are very few, are in extremely expensive cities like New York and LA, where your starting salary of around $35,000, if you're lucky to even get a job, means choosing between food and rent each month. Now, the reality, as one art history graduate said, there are literally 0 jobs out there in the field. And the few positions that do exist are highly competitive, often requiring advanced degrees and having rich family members. And many art history majors end up taking on unpaid internships or low-paying roles, just to get their foot in the door. So the financial investment can be absolutely staggering. One commenter racked up over $200,000 in student loans for their art history degree. An absolute scam. You're essentially paying private university prices for a degree that qualifies you for public assistance. So the uselessness score for this one, I'm gonna give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. To have any chance whatsoever to land a job, you are gonna need to get a doctorate, and you're going to have insane connections.
All right, guys, for 1 month only, we are accepting people into our coaching program, Content Growth Engine, where we help you to grow and make money from your personal brand. Now, this can apply to people who are just trying to get a better job, just grow their personal brand to get a better job. Literally the best way to do this. For instance, one of our clients, Josh, was able to get an offer from 2 different FANG companies, which are the hardest companies in the world to get into, even harder than Ivy League universities. Using his personal brand, or just as a side hustle, right? Just as a way to make a little bit of extra money on the side. We teach people how to do this, or people who are already making money to make more money, or people who already have a full-fledged business and they're crushing it, and they're already have a successful YouTube channel and they want to optimize their YouTube channel and make even more money. So we've worked with literally every one of those types of people, and what makes our system so good is that we combine all of the best practices of building a personal brand, but we use AI to scale things to make it 10 times more efficient. It's something that no one else has ever discovered. It's an amazing opportunity, and that's why I'm so excited to share it with you. So we are accepting 3 to 5 people into the first cohort. You need to be very dedicated, right? Do not apply if you're not super dedicated to growing your personal brand. So you have to be serious, you have to be dedicated, you have to be willing to put in the time, effort, and money that it takes to grow a personal brand. So if that's you, go ahead, apply in the description in the pinned comment below, and hopefully we get to work together. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, next is a liberal arts or general studies degree. And I kind of bunched these together because they're almost the same thing. Now, there are basically 0 jobs out there for this. And even the jobs that you're qualified for don't actually need the degrees, because the types of jobs that this qualifies you for are the types of jobs that you can land with any degree, or in a lot of cases, no degree at all. And also, even in the cheapest state in the United States, West Virginia, you still need $39,000 just to survive. And these starting salaries will have you living like a college student well into your 30s. And here's something crazy. These 2 degrees make up 2% of all student loan debt in America. That's huge when you consider there's over 900 different degrees out there. So unlike some of the other degrees on this list, there's actually a lot of people that are falling for this one and getting the degree, which basically guarantees that you're gonna have to go to grad school. And even if you get a doctorate, you're still probably not gonna land a job in anything related to liberal studies. So basically what you did is you got a degree in Wikipedia, because you could have looked up all of this general information on Wikipedia and become a jack of all trades completely free. So because of the fact that so many people fall for this one, I'm gonna give it another 10 out of 10 perfect uselessness score. All right, so the next one on the list, sociology and anthropology. And I bunched these 2 together because you're gonna be applying for a lot of the same jobs. Now, there are still a lot of people graduating with these degrees. Not as much as psychology, but still a lot. So you literally have better odds of becoming a successful YouTuber or a business owner, but the upside isn't nearly as high. And according to one graduate, a $55,000 starting salary is actually quite high to expect for a sociology grad right out of college. And that's if you're lucky enough to get a job. And you're likely to start off a lot lower than that if you're one of the lucky ones. So I've personally find sociology and anthropology very interesting, but these degrees would require advanced education just to be able to get a job, and likely the job would be something involving becoming a college professor, so you can then convince more students to get the degree as well, which kind of sounds like a pyramid scheme. So yeah, this one's gonna get a uselessness score of 9 out of 10. Now, by the way, I think sociology is extremely interesting. And I don't want to be negative in this video. I see a lot of value to education in general. But the truth is, you can learn a lot about sociology completely free from the best universities in the world. We're talking Ivy League universities. And you could take their classes completely free online. And I have a master list of all the free classes from Ivy League universities. We're talking courses, certificates, certifications, etc., that are either free or very affordable. And I update this list all the time whenever I find new things. So you can check that out by clicking the link in the description and the pinned comment below. All right, so this one always triggers a ton of people. Psychology. And hey, I think that helping people with their mental health is great, but the numbers just don't number. And you don't need to be a psychology genius to see that. There are 140,000 new bachelor graduates every year. Plus, there's an additional 38,000 master degree graduates and 7,000 doctoral degree graduates every year as well. But the problem is there's only 120,000 psychology jobs total nationwide, and almost all of them require advanced degrees. Oh, and those numbers don't include the millions of people that already have psych degrees. So again, the numbers just don't number. There's way too many people graduating with psychology degrees and not enough jobs. And the worst part is the places where there are a lot of job openings are places like San Francisco, where the starting pay is not even going to be enough to pay for a room if you've got 7 roommates. So I can see the value here. I personally find psychology very interesting, and I do think there is a lot of value to society to improve people's mental health. But with that being said, with the amount of people that are falling for this one and getting a degree, especially a bachelor's degree, which basically there's 0 jobs out there for bachelor grads, I have to give this one a uselessness score of 8 out of 10. And honestly, I'm being pretty nice there. All right, next one is communications. And brace yourself, most of the actual jobs in communications are going to be in incredibly expensive cities, and there's really not that many jobs in the first place. So this is another one of those degrees that a ton of people get, and this one is actually referred to as the athlete's degree. And the reason for that is because professional athletes, or people who plan on becoming professional athletes, want to take a degree that that is insanely easy so that it doesn't interfere with their sports schedule. And the few jobs out there, like I said, are going to be in extremely expensive cities. We're talking PR managers, that type of thing. And the funniest thing is, you don't even need a degree to get started in something like PR. And communications is just such a general degree. It's kind of like a thinking degree or something like that.
You know what that means? We're ready to sit in our thinking chair. Let's go.
It's so general that it's basically useless. So of course, the average student loan debt is going to be astronomical. You're probably going to spend $50,000 to $100,000 on a degree just to get a $40,000 a year job. And employers have absolutely no idea what specific skills that you have with this degree. Like, how are you going to provide value? How are you going to justify them spending $50,000 on your salary? So although I do believe that communications, generally speaking, is a super useful skill, everyone could learn to communicate better, it's something that I don't think you should get a college degree for, and it's not really something you can learn in a classroom setting. It's an extremely general degree with no specific skills attached, and so for that reason, I'm gonna give this one a uselessness score of 8.5 out of 10. Now, by the way, I don't wanna just be negative in this video. There are amazing education opportunities out there, and with things like communications or psychology, I do see the value of it. But the truth is, you can learn these things completely free. There are courses from the best colleges in the world where you can learn the practical aspects of these degrees completely free. All right, next is biology. And this is one that's gonna make some people mad because they think, Shane, you know, STEM degrees are great. Like, I don't need to watch your videos at all because I'll just get a STEM degree. Well, not all STEM degrees are created equal, because check this out. And this is a high estimate. There's 22,000 biology jobs available nationwide. But the problem is there's 120,000 graduates per year. And that's just the bachelor's degrees. Usually you're gonna have to get a master's or a doctorate to land a job in biology. And a lot of the time, even with a master's or a doctorate, you're still just gonna be getting your foot in the door, if you're lucky, with a low paying job. And then good luck paying off all the student loan debt. Now, I actually have a friend who got this degree because she thought it would be great for medical school. Well, plans changed. She decided she didn't want to do med school anymore, but she was stuck with the degree. And so she ended up going back to school and getting a master's. But she still couldn't find work. So she was basically forced to go back to school and get a doctorate. And so she ended up spending over 10 years in college in order to get a doctorate, and then she finally was able to land a job. Brutal.
I finally rest.
So I understand that biology in general, very useful. You know, we still haven't figured out the cure to cancer yet, obviously, so someone's still got to figure that out. But a biology degree at the bachelor's level is awful. In fact, you could argue that it's even worse than a psychology degree. So I'm gonna be nice here and give this one a uselessness score of 7 out of 10, because I do think it's a good prerequisite if you wanna go ahead and become like a doctor or a pharmacist or a PA. But for a lot of people, they end up with a useless degree. All right, so the next one is a photography degree. Now, there are a lot of photography jobs out there, part-time, full-time, and even freelance. But exactly 0 of them care at all about your degree. You're literally paying tuition to learn what millions of Instagram influencers figured out completely free. And there are unlimited classes. We're talking really good classes online, even on YouTube, that will teach you how to do photography at just as high of a level. And guess where most of the photography gigs are? The ones that actually pay well. Yeah, they're gonna be in super expensive cities like New York and LA, where your $37,000 starting salary won't even cover the cost of a studio apartment and ramen noodles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So just about everyone I've met who went to art school has told me that it's a scam. Why? Because art is subjective and it's constantly changing. College, on the other hand, is old, antiquated, and stuck in the mud. And so it is the last place in the world that you would want to learn art from, right? Every ounce of creativity has been squeezed out of college like a watermelon thrown into a shredding machine. So yeah, I do think there are a lot of photography jobs out there, and I guess this goes for art degrees in general. There may be a few exceptions here and there, but again, when it comes to uselessness, I think I'm gonna have to give this one a 7.5 out of 10 uselessness score, and I think I'm being pretty nice there.
Quick break. This video is sponsored by me. Most of you don't know that I actually have my own coaching program on personal branding and then growing and making money on YouTube. And this is good for complete beginners, maybe even people who just want to get a job by growing their personal brand, all the way up to people who are very advanced on YouTube. And they get to work directly with myself and my team to help them reach their goals. Now, We are opening up 3 to 5 spots, and this is pretty rare. We usually don't have these open. We usually only limit them to select people. But we're opening up 3 to 5 spots, and you can check those out down in the description and the pinned comment below. And in this program, you'll get to work directly with myself and other people who are highly successful on YouTube. Just as an example, Sean was able to go all the way from being stuck, not making very much money on his channel, to making over $500,000 a month. Now, that's an example of one of my more advanced students, but there's lots of examples of people who started off from scratch and they got to 5K a month, 10K a month, etc. So check that out down in the description and the pinned comment below.
All right, I saved the last for best, and that is a puppetry degree. And yes, this is a real thing. You can get a college degree in puppetry. Yep, you can get a college degree to learn how to become a ventriloquist just like Jeff Dunham. The only problem is Jeff Dunham never got a puppetry degree himself. Of course he didn't. In fact, I looked up just about all of the famous ventriloquists online and I didn't find a single one that got a puppetry degree. Because if it wasn't completely obvious, you don't need a college degree to learn puppetry, right? This is a skill. It's something that you learn by practicing. It's like getting a college degree to learn how to ride a bike. And if you really need help from somebody else to learn this skill, you can go ahead and hire a professional, right? Even if you hired a professional ventriloquist hourly and you worked with them several hours a week for 4 years, it would still be a fraction of the cost of a college degree. And you would get one-on-one instruction from a pro, right? So this one it makes absolutely no sense to go to college for this. The uselessness level of this one is off the charts. It's 11 out of 10. It's so specialized yet so unnecessary that even successful professionals in the field don't have a degree. It's just absolutely absurd. It's an absolute money grab by colleges to offer this as a degree. Now, by the way, comment down below which of these degrees you thought was the most useless, or maybe there's another one out there that's even more useless than the ones that I put on this list. And listen, I joke in this video, but it's actually a pretty serious topic. The education system is absolutely broken in the United States of America. There's tons of useless degrees that you wouldn't even see in other countries. And on top of that, in most countries throughout the world, you can get a college education for an affordable and reasonable price. Whereas in the US, it basically puts you in student loan debt for the rest of your adult life. And a lot of the degrees are completely useless. So this is literally ruining young people's financial future. So I know some people are gonna get triggered by this video, and hey, if you have one of these degrees and you're doing well, great job, but you're not the norm. You know, and sometimes I'll get comments like, my aunt's maid's nephew got a puppetry degree and he's making $100,000 a year. Yeah, guess what? That's not the average. That is an outlier exception. And the hard truth is the economy doesn't care about people's passion. It cares about what value you bring. So be smart and pick a path that leads to success, not endless debt. And by the way, if you want to kill your passion fast, try doing it as a career because that's one of the fastest ways to do it. And a lot of the time, if it's a passion and you can't make money from it, you should just keep it as a hobby because at least then you can do it after work to blow off stress, right? I'm passionate about playing video games, but that doesn't mean I'm going to take a video game studies degree. And one of the fastest ways to kill your passion is to be living in your parents' basement at 30 because you chose your feelings over your finances, right? You can explore your interests later on when you're not stressed about student loan payments. Now, like I said, I don't want to be negative here. I think there's a lot of great ways to educate yourself online. Many of them are completely free or very affordable. And like I said before, I have a master list of resources. We're talking online courses, certificates, certifications, etc. And I keep this master list updated, so check that out down in the description and the pinned comment below. And like I said, I don't want to be negative, so I also made a video on the 10 college degrees that are actually worth it, which you can check out by clicking right here.